Welcome to the Revelation of Hope podcast with your host, Alvin Bonds II. Join us each week as Alvin explores the relationship between leadership and families by interviewing leaders in different fields all over the world. Alvin believes that the success of tomorrow's leaders begins with the success of today's families.
Hello, and welcome to the Revelation of Hope podcast. I am your host, Alvin Bonds II, and this is episode 10. This is part 2 of my interview with Pei-Lan Ku. If you joined us for part 1, then you know that Pei-Lan is the owner and principal consultant of Orchid Consulting. This is part 2 of my interview with Pei-Lan, where Pei-Lan describes the struggle she encountered having dropped out of high school when she was 15 years old and being told that only 2% of people with a GED earn a bachelor's degree. Let's hear the rest of that interview.
How do you balance your career and what you're building with your family? You mentioned your husband. How do you balance your time with him?
So my husband and I think we were just so meant to be together, just because of the fact that our lifestyles are so unconventional.
Okay.
So he owns a software company. His work, he just needs a laptop. He doesn't need an office. He doesn't need anything. He just needs a laptop. And when I met him, I was like 31. We were like 31. For the same year. I was actually an assistant director at an after-school program in New York City. Before that, I would actually intern like a museum. I had to teach him how powerful art can be.
Okay.
He's very technical. He's like money-making, technical person. Very, very much like my family.
Okay.
By the way, besides my father, very much like everybody else in my family. When we first met, our schedule was just like, because he would be up in the wee hours, and then I only need to wake up until like 12. I think for us, our lifestyle, even though our personalities are completely different, our work is completely different, our lifestyle, this unconventional weirdness of our lifestyle, because everybody always asks, so what do you do? And then, my husband would be like, I have a software company. And then they're like, oh, what? IT, and then they just go into this whole entire thing. And I have to do the same thing with my work.
Yeah.
And we don't have a set schedule. And he works at home too. And then I'll get like gigs. Everyone's like, when do you go into work? And I'm like, I start. And then, you tell them, and then they're like, and they're like, aren't you working today? And I'm like, no, I only work on like Mondays and Tuesdays. And then they're like, what do you mean? And you're like, because these are gigs.
Right.
They were classes. So I kind of felt like he knew what I was talking about. When I explained to him about my life, and then he explained to me my life, we just knew, even though we weren't in the same industry, I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
So that's how we balance it now. Like, whatever, okay, we're not divorced, don't worry, nothing's wrong. It's just that he has a place that he could stay in Yonkers, New York, and I'm staying in Woodhaven, New York, because guess what? I don't want to stay in Yonkers, New York, and I get most work in New York City.
Okay.
Right? I can get work up there. There are a lot of dance teaching positions up there that actually pay quite well. But I just don't want to. I don't want to. And he understands that. He understands that, like, this is going back to, who I am as just as a person, if I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And he respects that. And he absolutely respects that. Because if he doesn't want to do anything, I respect that. And it's not a compromise. People always say, you got to compromise. We don't compromise. We just do it. We just do it. And then at the end, we'll figure it out. Later on, we'll figure it out. But again, I think that has to do with lifestyle.
Okay.
I think that balance is just accepting the differences. I don't know if that makes any sense to you again.
It does, and it seems to work for you all. And interestingly enough, he was the one who suggested, for people to contact you about an interview. So,
I know. Which I actually, you know what? You know what's even funnier? It's kind of even cuter. He actually didn't tell me until you emailed me. Because I was like, I get a lot of bogey emails, and then I was like reading this. I was like, what is? I was like, and it just so happened, I was a Yonkers, because I go there on weekends,
Yeah.
But I was a Yonkers, and I was like, I don't know if this is real, and he was like, oh yeah, that's real. But that's so normal between us. It's just so weird. Like, he just does his thing, I do my thing, and and then we just meet somewhere, whatever we can.
And the beautiful thing about that is he supports you, and he's he turned on a beacon in your name in order to get people to to celebrate you and to get your story out there. So whatever y'all are doing, it seems to be working.
But I want to tell you this though, and I'm grateful for that, and I love him for that. It wasn't always the case though.
Sure.
No, it wasn't always the case. I had to fight for his support. All the other stuff that I do, like my art and teaching artist and all that other stuff. Again, you get burned a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Oh boy, a lot. Just work wise, you just get burned a lot. And he saw that. So he would always tell me, just get a job, which is funny because he goes through a lot more stress than I do. Don't get me wrong, because he's dealing with a lot more money. He hated it when his mom said the same thing to him.
Really?
Oh yeah, his mom is always because he's been doing this for 24 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, not 24 years. Since he was 24, almost 20 years. Since he was 24 years old. I'm sorry. Since he was 24 years old, he had his own software company. It stresses him out. He had to go to, if you ever see Silicon Valley, that HBO's to come, a series where the main guy, I forgot what his name is, but he always goes to the doctor, just to see how he physically is. But his doctor is kind of like a therapist.
Yes.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
He had that. He had to go, he had anxiety attacks. He's like, what's going on with my body? And, he had that. He had all that, And even though he had that, he would say to me, get a job. But his mom would do that same thing to him because he didn't want him to go through anxiety.
Yes.
And I know it's love, again, I absolutely know it's love. But he did this podcast because I think he's really supporting me on this podcast because I am my own leader. I don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
So I think this time, I'm my own failure.
True.
It's not anybody, it's not anybody else that, he can try to fight off for me.
Yeah.
Or anything, or whatever, because he always, he definitely wants to be my protector. But I think for this podcast, and I'm actually doing it. So I am very thankful, but again, because I don't want your listeners to think that, oh yeah, oh he's so supportive, oh he's such a wonderful husband. No. It was not. No. It was not always like that. It was definitely not always like that. But I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to talk to you. So.
And that's the thing about it is it may not start out with anything, whether it's relationships, marriage, or even starting a business or a podcast like, we're both doing. It may be rocky in the beginning, but in time it smooths out. And that's how I see, the dynamics of family. And, I'm a marriage or family therapist. And so I see all different types. And I personally believe that the success of tomorrow's leaders begins with the success of today's families.
Oh, when I saw your, when I heard your podcast and I saw your, I guess that poster, the hope of, was it Revelation?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the bottom it says family equals the leaders or something?
Yes.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you, because when I'm thinking back at how, a lot of, okay, this is what's interesting too. Everybody always says, I'm a woman and I whatever, like treated whatever fairly. Here's my perspective on that. Like the equal pay, I'm a short Chinese girl, Chinese American girl. So I'm not like that intimidating looking. And that's because of my weird sense of humor. People don't really think on how competitive I am, actually.
Sure.
Or how serious I am. Which I'm not that serious, but I'm really competitive. Highly competitive. I kind of feel in life, and again, it's the acceptance of going back to letting myself cry, letting myself be angry, and letting myself, not have an image that people want me to have or expect me to have. And that really, really, for me, that just, because there was, especially because I'm a dancer, there was a time in my life where I was just, whatever. I look back at my pictures now, I'm like, holy crap, I'm gorgeous. But when I was that age, I did not think that at all.
Okay.
When I was that age, I did not think that at all. At all. At all. And I didn't have the confidence. That had to be built by me.
Yes.
And I feel like for women, yeah, okay, fine. We got the whatever. We're not the dominant gender or sex. But if you really wanted, you had the choice to figure it out. You have the choice. You have that choice. You have that understanding of what you need to do for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, as a short Asian girl, to go into whatever, I grew up in New York City, so I don't really call it inner city, whatever, high risk, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
City folk. we just, I was like, what, the percentage of whatever, this, blah, blah, whatever. That's up to you. You got to figure it out. When I dropped out of high school, oh my God, my entire family, my aunt, Emily, I love her to death. She came with me and she found that, first of all, they didn't even know what a GED was. So,
yeah.
Okay. So they had to figure out what a GED was. and then she found out the statistics of a GED. So this is back in the 90s, right? This is she found out the statistics about a GED. She said that only 2% of GED people get a bachelor's degree, complete a bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And I remember that. Oh, God, I remember that. And because I come from a highly educated family, it didn't, piss me off. I just remembered it.
Yes.
And then, when I was 20 years old, I got accepted to Berkeley. I double majored, art history and dance performance studies. And I became that 2%.
Wow.
Right? For me. Statistically in the 1990s.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was my choice. It was our choice.
Of course.
And it was a choice later on that I made, but I chose that.
But that's so inspiring because and I see a lot of people who may have dropped out of school, but may be struggling to either get the courage or to make that choice, like you said, to take their GED. And not only did you take it and pass, but you went on and went to college. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, oh my God, have you seen the book for the GED now? I was just curious one day. So the book is it's thicker than I don't even know, it was huge. It was maybe it was what, 4 inches.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
When I took the GED, it was 2 little pamphlets. But I was not considering to take the GED now. I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, what is this? We had two little pamphlets. The two little like magazines or something.
Yeah.
Very thin magazine. I allowed myself to fail and swallow my pride. I swallow my pride a lot.
Okay.
When she's like yelling at me, or my mom's yelling at me, or something like that, I swallow my pride a lot. I take it in. And then I allowed myself to like yell the shit out of somebody else or something.
Yeah.
Or at the person or whatever. But So I was like thinking to myself, I dropped out of high school. You know, the only reason why I dropped out of high school was really just because I couldn't get up for class. It wasn't because I hated school or anything like that. I just couldn't get up for school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so stupid. I mean, I was really stupid at the age of 15. But again, you fail. You do. And then that failure, you have to swallow your pride.
Yes.
And, I dropped out of high school because I didn't get into class. You know, I didn't make it into class. I didn't make it into class, therefore I failed. Therefore, I got left back. I didn't want to be in the same, like, to be a low, you know, when all my friends that were in school, all my friends were a grade above me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to swallow my pride when I was 15. But I had to swallow my pride when I got into, you know, UC Berkeley undergrad at the age of 28.
Wow.
You know? Because I was junior status, but still, I was like, most of the people in the undergraduate school were 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And forget it. I had so many arguments with these little itty bitties. Like in the beginning, my whole family was suggesting, and my friends were suggesting, "Look, you're so sure, and nobody would know if you didn't tell them your age. Nobody would know."
Yeah.
And I actually didn't do that, but that was the worst mistake that I did. That I chose to listen to. Don't get me wrong. I know it's all my fault, but man, that was advice that I definitely should have not listened to, because it didn't allow me to be who I am.
Yeah.
Like an 18-year-old versus a 28-year-old is freaking different, okay?
You're right.
Like, that's way, psychologically, even though I look like one, when I was at UC Berkeley, you know, my suite mate, I decided to also, I said, you know what? Let me try to get this, like, undergraduate dorm life. Because
Okay.
I could have chosen to be alone in a room,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because the university knew how old I was. I could have chosen a room, you know, by myself, but I actually chose to live with somebody. so I'm like living with this girl that's like, I think she was like 19, 20, because I was junior status, so everybody was kind of like junior status.
Yeah.
So I think she was incoming transfer also. So she's like, hey, you know. And she could obviously see I was, like, older than her, but she just didn't know how old I was in the beginning. And she's like, oh, you know, it's frat row day, you know. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And she's like, yeah, let's go. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure, let's go. To frat row day, you know. It's like, you know, like all the frats and sororities or whatever, their houses are open or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that's why I was just like, okay, this is just weird. I was like, looking. Because, you know, these kids are like, you know, they're kids.
Yes.
They're a decade younger than I am. They're like, party! You know? And then, like, these, like, 18-year-olds are, like, hitting on me. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Like, this is just, I was like, and I still stuck to my guns for a little bit, you know, but towards the end, I just thought, I got to tell you guys how old I am. I can't act like you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like, I can't. I was like, oh, my God. But, again, I had to swallow my pride.
Yes.
I had to swallow my, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to just, okay, let's do this. Let's be team, you know, team player. Let's go to these frat parties. And it was just so, like, weird. And I just want to let you know that the frat houses are just crazy.
Yeah.
But the athletic houses the football house was like the most peaceful. And I was actually in the door.
Interesting.
The other frat houses, I was like standing outside. I'm going to say this. Because they were just going crazy. I don't know. The football team, the Cal football team. Oh, cute little fact. Deshaun, I don't know if anybody knows this. Deshaun Jackson. He's like a football player now. He actually hit on me.
Really?
Yes, he did. He did. We went to that wedding house. I actually went in. And then so she went in. She actually went in. But I actually went in, stayed on the side. Like, two guys came up to me. One guy actually sat there. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? Blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm good, whatever. And then she wanted to leave. But there's no way, absolutely no way, like, you know, I was ever thinking about dating anybody, you know, whatever, right? But so then I knew it was going to be gone. So I remember his name. I was like, because he was a nice guy, and I was like, oh, you know, she's like, what's your name? I went, Pei-Lan, and then he's like, Dijon. And, you know, okay, so I knew I was in this football. I knew I was in this football thing, and then I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. And then we went to a football game. You know how they're calling out the numbers sometimes or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm like, Dijon. I'm like, oh! That's the guy that got me.
That's so cool.
Like, thank you. My little 5 seconds of, I don't know, whatever.
That's pretty cool. Well, Pei-Lan, I really do appreciate you of taking the time to do this podcast interview for me. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about, you know, leadership or family, or how that blends together, or how it's impacted your life? Anything you want to say to our listeners?
I think it really goes back to, you have to choose. You have to make the decision. I know it's like so hard, and those little decisions that you make in life is what you just said, empowering. Yeah. It's, you know, it could be, you know, I don't know, your husband is annoying the crap out of you, and he doesn't know where you are, you know, like whatever, like where the spoon is, and instead of saying like what you always say, like, you just gotta look, you know, maybe one day, just see what happens when you just get up and actually show him where the spoon is. And I swear to God, you could choose after that whether or not you want to, like, yell at him again or just do the same thing again and not have the argument. Like, those little things really, really do. It's really up to you. You know? And sometimes sometimes the decision is actually, like, you have to swallow that pride. Somebody's, like, you know, accidentally bumped into you, do you go, like, you know, and in New York that happens a lot, do you go, like whatever? Because that little, even that whatever, and then the person walks away, like, you got angry. Or you can just let it go. You know? You got angry. If you want to be angry, that's totally fine. You know? Like I said. But it's really your decision. It's really your decision at the end. So that's what I know it's easier said than done, and you could definitely test the waters, but maybe one day you just want to make the decision that you've never made before. I'm not that deep either, but yeah.
Well, that is. I mean, that's, you know, again, I work with couples, and I hope people will take heed to what you're saying, because that is true. We can choose to yell at the husband and just say, look for it, find the spoon. Or maybe, you know, because maybe he's had a stressful day. Maybe something is bothering him. Who knows? But you're right. You know, we can choose to take a chance and do something different, or keep doing the same thing that was leading to arguments before. You're exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and that has a lot to do with, I just feel like that has a lot to do with, you know, whatever you want to do. Again, that's your decision. But, you know what? Another thing, too, is a lot of people that I know don't think they have that decision to be made. Mm. Okay, we're going a little something deeper, but I know a lot of people that I've had arguments with about this topic. You make your own decision, you should blame it on yourself, blah, 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 whatever. But they really, at the end, they feel like they're always the victim. So they feel like they always don't have that choice.
Mm.
And I think that is, I don't know if that's personality or maybe because of my family or whatever. I have to admit, I always felt like I had the choice. So for your listeners now, if you do feel like you don't have the choice, maybe you choose to choose.
I like it.
A lot of my friends, they don't think they have that choice. They don't. But I always feel, because it's like, okay, my advice to you is to choose. But then if you really don't feel like you don't have that choice, I don't know. It's a professional over here. I don't know what the next step would be, but I know a lot of people don't feel like they have the choice, though. I don't. And I do. I had a falling out with my friend 2-3 years ago, and she just at the end, she was just like, she just kept on victimizing herself.
Yeah.
In the argument. And when I came out of the argument, I said, like, Lana, you choose to call me whatever you want. I'm here for you whenever you want at the end. But I could see in her eyes, she just felt like she didn't have the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was the aggressor and she was the victim.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what, yeah. But I do, my advice was you do choose. And she chose, and we don't really talk anymore, so, we're still Facebook friends and everything like that. So at the end, she did choose, which is, I'm actually quite happy.
Yeah.
About the fact that she chose.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Please be sure to subscribe as well as providing a rating and review. Every week, I will interview a different leader and invite them to share with us their views and perspective on the relationship between leadership and family. Be sure to visit my website. It's www.alvinbonds2nd.com. That's ALVINBONDSII.com. Have a great day.